guys, I'm QX, and we have my teammate here, Marc the Shark. How you doing, Marc?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
As you can see, I flew to sunny wherever you're from, and joined right next to you. Where is it? Right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we're here today to talk to you about our ErgoHack project called, I don't even, what's it called, Marc?
I guess initially it was going to be NFT or mining NFT configurator, but I don't know. That's a good question. Smart swapping for mining.
Yeah, I guess we could call it. Well, it's not just Rosen swap. It could be any token swap, right? It could be.
Yeah, correct. I forget what we put in our actual submission.
I think it's a Rosen BTC swap or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So why don't we start from the basics, where we got started for people who aren't familiar with the SIGs pool. We can use this as an advertising opportunity for the SIGs pool, eh?
Absolutely.
All right, let me break up my screen here. Perfect. So this is our what's it called? This is our Telegram. Essentially, we had been talking about making a mining group for the SIGs to try to educate miners more and get them interested in knowing that they have the power to change some parameters and configs in the Ergo ecosystem. And what better way to do that than create a mining pool that's community based and run and trying to educate. So I'm in the process of setting it up, but at the same time, in parallel, somebody wrote on Twitter and was like, "Oh, hey guys, I'm looking to start my own mining pool, that kind of thing." I was like, "Oh shit, we got to get together before we do parallel jobs here." So I wrote the guy, and that was you, Marc.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I'm glad I found you guys, or you guys found me, because setting up a mining pool is a big endeavor. So lots of hats in the ring,
Yes. It'd be nice if it was like an easy spin up and forget kind of thing. But even after you get it spun up, it's like, all of a sudden people are like, "Hey, where's my payment? I've been mining for 2 blocks and it's not quite what I want." you realize how much support level comes of, trying to spin one of these things up and run it. It's not fun at times, but other times it is a lot of fun. We try to keep it fun in chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, it's always fun when we push a new update to the UI and then it just doesn't work. And it's like, oh, cool. Now we don't have a UI right now. Sorry, guys.
Well, we got a backup UI, and somebody's running Sigma Space is running a UI on their end too of the official UI.
Absolutely.
So we've got options. So in part, we have a lot of bots running in this chat, as you can see. We have a bot that reports essentially every 6 hours, I think, how many gigahash the pool is, some ideas about the pool help, where to get notifications. I have a bot that you can DM, and it will actually tell you when it gets blocked, so it'll DM you block. We also have bonus payments that are pretty cool that we wrote in, and we've had projects donate to us, and every hour about a random miner is grabbed from the miner list, and a TX is built and automatically sent and notified in chat. So that's kind of our base layer of what we have. We have a mining core server, Sigmanauts is up. We're trying to stress test the hell out of it, make sure that we have it nice and set, and we give bonus payouts for tokens. So on top of that, Marc, I think it was during let me pull this screen down. I think it was during a dev update that you and I were talking, and you came up with an idea that was essentially, why don't you talk about the idea that you came up with and how to modify the dashboard?
Yeah, so we were kind of talking around NFTs, and I think previously, someone was around like meme tokens and kind of had that sort of idea, and we wanted to change configurations to the dashboard, but we wanted it to be completely permissionless, follow the ideas of the blockchain, and so came up sort of the idea of using an NFT to drive the UI within specific settings. And maybe I think initially we were kind of just talking about backgrounds, so someone could change the background with respect to the NFT. But kind of further on, as we kind of got discussing, we were thinking, how cool would it be to actually change, or rather, I guess organically, some miners wanted to change their minimum payout. And so and then thus the need for a new feature. And so QX was doing it manually, but of course there's a human in the loop. What if he puts 1,000, 2,000, and then takes all of the money for the pool, right? So it'd be great if we could have a some type of system that allows the miners to interact with, and then they can essentially look at our code, see how that works, and then have this NFT essentially be the middleman until we have a smart contract type of layer. So the idea is the miners would mint this NFT with respect to specific parameters. So again, the background of the UI, the minimum payout, and then another feature kind of we were thinking about with respect to the hack was the being able to swap for Rosen, RSBTC, kind of like an unminable type of idea. And then so through this NFT sort of layer, we can then add that, make it permissionless. So if I want to do it, nobody has to give me permission, etc. Kind of the build for war mentality, I suppose, on the cyberpunk side of things. So again, just give all the empowerment to the miners to make those decisions.
Yeah, and the main goal I was looking for too is I don't want to have to go to a website to update something. If the ethos of Ergo is that I can point my miner to a pool and make decisions on a blockchain by supporting the pool that's supporting a new configuration, then why can't we utilize that kind of technique with wallets and what's on chain to do that? Why are we relying on a web server in the Amazon cloud or something to set preferences and to store those preferences? Like we saw what happened with Hivos, right? Their whole goddamn system got wiped out by a centralized, their centralized database got wiped out. So people were burning up their cards with default settings. So it'd be nice to be able to have that data somewhere on a public ledger or being propagated by the miners themselves. So that's the whole idea of that. So then I think it came strong with the idea of the swaps, and we decided to enter ErgoHack with that. And I set out to make a smart contract, which I haven't made any smart contracts before. That's not the type of development work that I do. And I got it. It's a very easy smart contract. But then implementing it is the next key. So I messed around with Fleet, which is great, but I didn't feel that the time to learn Fleet would facilitate the time in the ErgoHack. So we kind of shifted from our original idea of populating NFTs with data, reading that data, and then paying out there, to another idea that, let me show you here. And let me preface this by warning, if you guys mine to our pool and you try this, you're at your own whim, because I'm not opening it. We're not opening up to people right now. Not opening to people right now. So if you switch to the Rosen pool that we're testing, I may wipe payments and only manually pay out Mark and Cannon, who are the teammates here, and not you, because I don't know who your wallet is. So please don't come yet and do that. So let me bring this up and show you what it looks like, what we decided to do on the miner side. Okay, so this is a typical thing for, let's see, you can see I'm running Regal Miner right here, which we do recommend Regal. It's fantastic. I personally recommend Regal. I don't want to say we, but Regal's been working great for me. I love that it's not endless scrolling. I love that it's an updated kind of console dash. It's really nice for that kind of thing. So Regal is running, and you can notice that here's my command for Regal right here. I'm using SSL on the pool for the SIGs mining to that port, but you'll notice that, you won't notice, but this address right here is a specific designated Rosen pool. So I'm mining to this pool, Mark's mining to this pool, Cannon is mining to this pool. So Mining Core sees it as one person's mining to this pool, and it's going to pay out to this wallet as if it were one person. Now you're going to say, how the hell do we decide what's going on? How do you track that? Well, here's where it gets interesting. So moving on that, we also found that we can append a shitload of data to the rig name. This highlighted thing should typically just be the rig name. So what we're appending is we're designating that it's a Rosen. That's kind of the trigger that my database looks for. We're showing that what our threshold for payouts is in an equivalent of 1.1 ergs. And then we're putting the actual wallet that we want our funds to go to in the long run. Okay, so that's my tipper wallet for testing. And then, of course, we can name it the rig name. All right, so that's that part of it. So how that works, again, mining core is mining. Your miner is mining to mining core. And mining core, as far as it knows, is simply just dumping the ergs into this main Rosen wallet. Okay, so it is not paying out me specifically for mining core. Mining core is happy doing what it's doing its payouts, and we did that on purpose because we didn't want to modify mining core. Who knows if that's going to be updated? We know that Cheese is working on storage rent for us, so we know an update is coming there. I didn't want to spend a week building something and then be like, oh, it's broken, kind of thing. So we tried to build a layer on top of that. All right, so now all this data is coming into the mining core database. We want to get it out of it, and we don't want to disturb it. So let me show this next. So this is what it takes here. We have APIs, and again, we did all this without rebooting mining core. We didn't do any mirroring tables or anything like that, all right? So what we have here is, if you see, there are some things with the words API after them. Let's see, there are a couple, like balances API. So on the secondary mirrored server that you're looking at, I've built a couple of APIs that will do a push, essentially. So the mining core server has a small script that dumps a table every couple minutes and pushes it to this API, which then populates the MySQL database on the mirrored server. It's very unconventional, but it's working for us now. Seems to be doing fine. We didn't have to mess with mining core. Then on top of that, we have a bunch of scripts that now that we have, you can see here, now that we have data inside our new mirrored server, we can then manipulate it all we want. We can change it, we can parse it, we can add rows and we can add columns to the new databases that we've made to add additional data. So the process goes like this.
Yeah.
It pulls it from the mining core server, it parses it on its way over to the MySQL server on the mirrored server. And what it does with this is it says, oh, hey, let me bring this up again. It says, hey, you're mining to Rosen. I know by this address that you're mining to the Rosen, so you want to be paid in Rosen. I know this is your main address, and this is your rig name, and this is your threshold payment. So now all it does is it gets rid of this. It puts the token you want to be paid in its own column in the new database. It puts this back over to here so that it knows what wallet it should pay out to, and it appends your rig name to where it should be in the database. So now we have a complete database again of what the preference is of the person. And it looks just like this. So if we look at this right up here, these are the last couple blocks found. You can see we've added two tabs, two columns on the far right hand side, calculated on and Rosen paid on. You can see I haven't put data in the right column, but this calculated on is something we use for a trigger. And then you can see that we have a Rosen balances table instead of just a Rosen table, and that table stores the new address. You can see right here the 9FYV is my actual wallet that I want to be paid in from right here. Right there. And you can see that my effort is recorded when it's pending. My Rosen amount is recorded when it's pending. The type of token I want to be paid out is a new column, and the total Rosen paid out is a new column. So essentially, let me see if I can open this for you. What is happening here is this is a short code, not short really, but this is code essentially what builds a transaction. So after a certain amount of time, it'll look and see if there is a block that has a certain confirmation. If there is, it will then build the balances. So it goes through, it selects all this data here, it puts it through a couple loops, it does it again, it selects network difficulty and blah hike, and this is the magic that I am then going to have Mark explain. This is how we calculate PPLNS, which is was a bit of a bit of a curmudgeon for a little bit. So I am going to show, let me make sure I have your screen. Mark, is your screen ready to show?
Yeah.
PPLNS? Okay.
Yeah, actually, real quick, our project name is officially Permissionless Pool Parameters and Reward Swapping.
PPRSW. PPLRS. I love it.
Yeah, we should have named it PPLNS and come up with an acronym.
That's
That'd
true.
be funny.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Take away PPLNS.
Okay, sweet. So just some assumptions here. We have miners A, B, C, and D. Each of these hashes is a entry into this mining core share table. With respect to that share table is the block height.
Mark made this, by the way. This is your creation.
Yeah.
This is bravo. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
I don't think we've seen a better. We were commenting that we haven't seen a better representation of this visually online. So this is great to see.
Well, yeah, thank you. Hopefully it's correct. Please let us know otherwise. But at least this is our interpretation of it. So, right. So we have a specific difficulty with respect to this share entry. Then we have the block height, and that's kind of only thing we really care about. But of course, miners care about their specific entries. So, for example, we have, this is a window here. This is where a block was found. So we're going to sum up all the values. I say of the shares, but really it's the difficulty of the shares, because each one of these has some type of difficulty. Now, if that difficulty sum, as we cumulatively go backwards in time, if that is greater than the difficulty at which the time of the block was found, multiply some arbitrary n, then we're going to stop. That's going to be our PPLNS window. So a larger the n, larger the window. So that could be really good for people pool hopping, versus a smaller window, not so good for pool hopping. So ours is 0.5. So right, if it was n, it's going to be half that window. And so assuming from here, this is our window that we're currently looking at. So we can see we have 12 total entries. So the erg reward is 27. Miner red has 5 out of 12. So they're going to get 42% of the total erg. Blue, green both have 16%. Pink has 1/4. So 25%. Now moving towards so this is how the mining core will calculate the PPLNS, but now we want to calculate that for all the given miners mining Rosen or swapping for Rosen. So red for this example is not, and only blue, pink, and green are actually swapping for it. So essentially, like QX said, they're all mining to that one specific address. They're not mining to their actual address. And so from here, blue has 2 still, pink has 3, green has 2. And so with respect to that, so we have 7 total entries out of the 12, right? So then let's see, so 27 times the group participation erg, so that's 58% of this total. So that means we have 15.66 erg to distribute between these 3 miners to swap to Rosen. So we swap that to Rosen, and then blue and green both have 28.5% participation for this Rosen pool, and then pink has 42.8. And so then here's the distributed erg to Rosen value. So that's how we pretty much calculate it. So again, for example, say in this example, we have block, and then the next block found is at, so we have block height, say 1, then block height 2, we found both blocks. Well, that window is going to be very similar, and we're going to have a lot of the same shares within that window. So if you're very lucky, so finding blocks after blocks after blocks, multiple shares are going to go to multiple blocks. But if we're unlucky, the reverse is true.
Right.
So,
you could be mining and it does. So let's say there's a day in between a block, but you didn't start mining that block until you didn't start mining an effort until maybe 5 hours into the that 18-hour period. It might not matter for you, right? Because the block counts don't go as far back as when you weren't mining, essentially, because it could cover. Yeah. So there's interesting. I guess you could gamify. You can't. It's hard to gamify because you can't tell when a block is being hit. But I'm sure you could if you knew when a block was coming. People would jump into the last 3/4 of totally. 1/2 of a block there, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you could even like rent hash, for example. So say at most within a given window you have 100 shares, but then you notice the difficulty is right, and then same thing with the effort, like you were saying. It's like, oh well, I'm going to go rent out 10 gigahash. So instead of 100 shares for the window, now that expands me to, I don't know, whatever it could be, 100 to 150. And so now all those extra shares are getting populated from 100 to 150. So then your participation grows until it hits that maximum for the given window relative to your hash rate. So yeah, definitely. I think it could be gamified, but depends on the window sizes, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's almost a good thing that there's random block timings there, and it's not specifically every 2 minutes. It's an average of 2 minutes, which kind of helps with that kind of security layer. That's interesting. Let me show real quick what that looks like for right here in the database. So this is the table that we're using to calculate from. You can see there's a network difficulty right here that Mark was speaking about, and there's also a difficulty per worker. All right, so what our script has to do is it has to take, remember, since we're looking in the new database, the Mir database, we have the proper wallets. So we take all the workers per wallet, join their difficulty together. First we look back, as he said, to where that line is. Then all the workers from the same wallet in there, we join them together, calculate their difficulties for everybody. That's essentially how it's done. And this is a table that does it. It's called the shares table. And this table was also modified. You can see there's a Rosen category on the right, and RSN means they're collecting Rosen, which is this person, and Ergo means they're collecting Ergo. So that'll say Rosen ADA at some point. That'll say Rosen BTC. That might say Sig USD, for gosh sake. It really can be any token with this system here to do it. And then, as Mark was saying, once that block hits a threshold, the scripts in here build a TX and build a TX from the table that you saw here, right here, when there are balances here. If it's above the threshold and the block confirmation is above a certain amount, it'll build a TX and send it. So it can build a TX from multiple points. It can build a TX and get somebody from Rosen ADA, get somebody from Rosen Bitcoin, or Rosen, and bind it all together in one TX and send it out if they're above the thresholds, and then write the data back to the table. So yeah, we're not limited in the future about what we can offer as far as what people want to swap out. The only thing that we're doing manually right now is we have to take those ergs deposited in the designated Rosen wallet and swap them on Spectrum for the Rosen tokens. So I need to write a script that actually does that automatically. And the advantage here too is we can actually gamify that. We can say, look, we see the price dropping, and we know in 1 week we spent, people suck out 1,000 Rosen tokens. So why don't we buy that now as Rosen is dipping, if it's going to spike. So you can do these kind of calculations and engage, maybe buy cheaper, so you can actually reward the pool operators with more, or the miners with more tokens than they would have had before.
Right, yeah.
So there's a couple different things we could do there that would be neat.
Yeah, and as well as if we have some type of treasury where, like you're saying, we buy like a week before we pay people out or something like that, we could tie that to grid bot trading. Yeah. So then we could have that working in the background. We could have all this, and honestly, it could be like a whole one-stop shop for miners where the pool is not actively grid trading. But if you want to grid trade, you could do that with the respective token that we pay you out in, so on and so forth. So
that's a project. We've got some future things we want to talk about too. I'll start off, Mark. One of the future things we'd like to do is not just what we spoke about there about grid trading, but also have you mine straight to a duck pools contract. So let's say you choose Sig USD, you could mine and it would dump it right into duck pools, and it would just keep populating there, and then we could pay you out the interest there, and you could of course check out at any time you wanted. And so then you're only receiving a deposit into your wallet when you get interest, or you just keep it there and we redeposit it back in for interest, and you only get a deposit in your mining wallet after 6 months of mining, if that's the case, or that kind of thing. You can set your threshold. So that's definitely something that's possible in the future with this system. And then we want to move back to kind of what the more advanced thing that Mark's been working on. Let me show you screen again, Mark. Are you ready for that?
Okay. Yeah, certainly.
All right, there you go.
All right, sweet. So here's the dashboard. If you guys are familiar with our pool, this will be very, very familiar. So the add-ons we have is the swap rewards or set minimum payout. So if you don't want to swap rewards, but you do want to set your minimum payout, you can still do this. Just more of an FYI, you don't have to swap for anything if you just want to keep ERG. That's certainly fine. So yeah, so right now here is our Rosen address if you want to swap to, but again, disclaimer, might not work for you, or at least let us know.
Don't do
right?
it, guys.
This is an alpha, so we're still proving things out, right? So wait for us to beta test it. Maybe we'll choose you.
I mean,
Anyways.
it'll work for you, but you know, if I have to wipe something like history, those kind of things, I'm going to do it without asking. So it's not advised to even try this yet. Thank you. Let the testers test it. Yeah.
And so we have the swapping address. We'll have total paid out. We might eventually, once we have the data, the number of miners to that specific Rosen address. That'd be really great to see. And then, okay, let's see. So then you just, again, how it works. I don't know, should I read this, or is this kind of just...
No, it's okay. I think I got it when, what's it called? When we went over the mining thing.
Okay, sweet. So then moving forward, here's a prototype again. Might not work. We don't have it. This is just the front end, I suppose. So if you did, once we did connect the back end, which is basically complete, to this front end, you'll be able to mint this NFT. We'll click this button. And so right now we have your Ergo ratio, you have your Rosen ratio, and then your minimum payout. So say I want 50% Rosen, and then I want 55% Ergo, and then my minimum payout can be 20. I go mint it. Oh, wait, doesn't add up to 100, so nobody can accidentally mess us up, I suppose. But in any case,
we should just take the leftover right to the pool, Mark. Don't put that error in.
Yeah, we'll just take it.
If people can't math, then we'll take it.
Right. We'll take your erg. You guys will learn quick. No. So yeah, so we have the ratio set up. You get your minimum payout. And we'll click Mint NFT. And then boom, we're going to connect to Nautilus, right? And then sweet, here we go. Here's the transaction. So total assets incoming, right? So this is...
They can't see that, but just so you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. You have to take my word for it.
Yeah. The screen recording for that only records the actual browser window, not the pop-up. There you go. Now it's showing.
Okay. Well, sweet. So this is my actual wallet, and here's the actual NFT I minted a few days ago. And so here we can see in the description, right? Here's the address that minted it. Here's the ERG that they want in terms of percentage, the Rosen, the minimum payout, and of course, right, this right now is a test token. But something important to talk about, because I believe in the dev update, we kind of mentioned like, well, what if I sent QX, 1,000 as his minimum payment, and then if we had, the background stuff, something that like, the BBC token, right? That'd be hilarious.
And switch the wallet to payout to, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So whoever mints this will actually have that address, and then and basically in our logic, you have to hold it in your wallet, obviously, but then also this address has to match your wallet, and if it doesn't, it's not going to work. So then people can't spam other people and just mint a bunch of NFTs and then just cause chaos. So. So more of an FYI there. And then this is sort of what you would see for your dashboard. So for example, this miner has gotten 66 Rosen. Their participation of the Rosen pool is this amount. Here is their hash rate for the Rosen. And eventually, once we get more data kind of secured and stuff, we'll have everything else there. But right now it's individualized because right, once we have the NFTs, we'll have one address to look at rather than everything. And then this will be the miner, or rather the worker that's actually mining Rosen. And then we'll probably finesse it because we'll have, a bunch of different tokens you can swap out to. So we'll have to figure out how we're going to do that.
Yeah, APIs take a bit to make. I only made 2 APIs for Mark to get the pool up and running for this ErgoHack. They just take some time. So yeah.
No, you're a legend. You made it happen,
Mark,
dude.
stop it.
You made it happen.
So with this NFT method that we're going to eventually go to, we will then shut off mining core payments for mining core. So mining core will no longer process payments. We'll build the whole transactions ourselves because we'll have all that data and we'll send it out. So it'll kind of not be a segment. It'll be more fluid in that aspect of it. And also since, what's it called? called? Since that'll be the case too, I won't have to mirror as much of the mining core database and modify it as much. I'll be able to pull everything I need from the mining core database, and then I can reference a table that I have in another mirrored database, essentially to see what the payouts are and see that kind of thing from there. So yeah,
and then eventually the smart contracts, whenever that makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't think we even have to calculate PPLNS in this method, Mark, because mining core will still estimate the payments and do PPLNS. It just won't execute the payment. So all I have to do is go search the mining core database for you and see what you're going to be paid out in Erg and just convert that to whatever token that you designated in the second database and pay it out, kind of thing. So that's going to make our lives a little easier as far as that goes.
We kind of had to take the long way around the mountain, so to speak, and then now we get to go through the mountain.
A week is pretty short for an ErgoHack. It'd be nice to have a month of ErgoHack, maybe.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh, that would be really, really sick.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we want to close with? Besides, we really appreciate you guys voting us to first place. Mark, you wanted to get that?
Absolutely. No, yeah, I would say, through this hack, it's honestly opened up Fleet SDK for me. With that little example, I thought it was more nebulous. And if anything, it was tough to just get my TypeScript settings set up, because I normally develop in Python. And so I think that was the biggest learning hurdle for me. And then now I think once we move to smart contracts in a similar sense, I've already seen a video where somebody was using the blocks sort of thing.
Yeah, the block builder to do a lock contract. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, we can make some serious dApps now with this mining pool, I think. Like we're talking, hope you don't mind me saying, but we're talking about doing some type of rentals with hash rate. So, you could put on our mining pool, you could, mine to a specific address, just like how we described. And then somebody could then say, hey, I want to take this specific rig for 1,000 mega hash. And it's like, okay, fantastic. You get an NFT as a receipt for the buyer. The lender gets an NFT also. Once they're done, just some transaction math, right? We don't have to get into, but eventually, again, just like, I think the sky's the limits now that we kind of are stepping into like the more decentralized app space, which is pretty exciting, because Sigmanauts mining pool to #1 here soon, hopefully.
Yeah, it'd be what's it called? Like you could do essentially I wonder how that would work. Yeah. I won't speculate on this. That's for the dev update of the AMA we can speculate on. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks so much, everybody. Mark, it was a fun Ergo hack. I lost a lot of sleep the last couple of days, but we pushed it out and it's functional.
Absolutely. It's great working with you as well. And on to the next one.
For sure. Thanks, everybody. Ciao.
All right. Take care.